What is up, everybody? It's your boys back again with another episode of Franchise Tagged Fantasy Football Podcast. As always, please be sure to tune into the Apple Podcast and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at, because we are audio only during the season. Leave a like, rating, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we drop videos. Brennan.
Yes, sir.
Thursday night football. Everyone thought it was going to be a dud. We were talking about the over-under at 48.5 points. It went way over.
Went way over very quickly.
It hit 60. There was 27 or 30 in the first half.
And one by one team typically.
Yeah. Yes, it was a good game. I think everyone was a little afraid it might be a little bit of a dud, but it turned out to be like the Broncos-Bears game last week, where it was just the Bears seemed to have figured it out. So to start off the show, let's just jump into the Thursday night game. It covers most of the news and notes. There's not very much news and notes today. So as always, guys, please, it is going to be Friday when you are watching this. Monitor the news and notes on Friday and Saturday, or the news on Friday and Saturday and Sunday morning. So you're going to know who's going to be in, who's going to be out. There are a couple players that are kind of on the cusp of playing, especially big names like Saquon and Amon-Ra. So just pay attention to the news that comes out with them. So let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
Let's jump into this.
All right, so we'll talk about the Bears side because DJ Moore had a career game.
Girl.
230 yards, 3 touchdowns, which equates to 48 points in half point PPR and 52 in full point PPR.
Yes.
If you played him, I'm sorry. It's
Can
rough.
I tell you that I had a DJ Moore, Justin Fields stack?
Well, you probably feel really good with almost 100 points, 2 players.
92.98 points after Thursday.
So with DJ Moore going off, Justin Fields went off because he threw 4 touchdowns and he had 41 points. And he actually ran quite a bit, but that's also because Khalil Herbert got hurt and Roschon Johnson got a concussion, so they had to run a little bit more. But as you can see, when he runs, the offense opens up a little bit more. So Cole Kmet, you started him. Congrats. He got you a touchdown, 4 receptions, 12 points.
He'll probably finish as tight end 3-4 on the week. I do expect Kelsey and Hawkinson to probably outscore him this week.
And Andrews.
That's where I think it could go kind of either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
just a matchup for Andrews.
Do you think the Bears have clicked now in 2 games? Do you think they figured it out?
So it's weird because last year everyone saw the struggle and it took them 6 games to figure it out. And this year they figured it out on offense, at least last week. So it only took them 4 games. Defense finally clicked at 5 games this year. I do think that they have figured it out. I do think going forward, Justin Fields will finish the rest of season as a QB1.
All right, fair enough. We can talk about the Commander side because I obviously the Bears put up 40 points, but the Commanders put up 20 points. So Sam Howell, he put up 30 points. He had a nice little day himself. Logan Thomas put up 16 points. He's someone I would actually consider just putting your lineup and holding.
Yep. I agree completely.
Yeah. Curtis Samuel led the team in targets. He had 15 points. He had 7 receptions. But the duds were Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson.
And Brian Robinson Jr.
Brian Robinson Jr. Yes, that does hurt.
Yeah, it does hurt. I want to bring up, you brought up the name Curtis Samuel, so I want to talk about it. I do think, and Ray gave me flack for it on yesterday's episode, Curtis Samuel is a viable wide receiver 3 flex option for your main dudes that are on bye. He led the team in targets. This is yet another week that he scored a touchdown. He's Sam Howell's go-to in the red zone, and Logan Thomas is the number 2 look when you get down there.
I agree.
So
I'm not worried about Brian Robinson in this game. They were down 27-3 at halftime, so he's not a receiving back, even though he had some really good catches.
Dude, that one-handed catch he had?
Yeah, it was impressive.
They lost 5 yards, but still.
Yeah. Antonio Gibson got a little bit more work than you were expecting, but it is what it is. It's just one of those games where these do happen, where when a running back like that just kind of one-dimensional, kind of takes away his aspect of the game. So
I agree. So we already talked about it, but DJ Moore is in the AJ Brown category of just being a man. DJ Moore his knock's been he's never scored touchdowns, but he's never really had consistent quarterback play.
Yeah.
If Justin Fields can stay consistent, I don't expect 48 to 52 points from DJ Moore.
No. What
He
you said
might
before the
pull,
show, 12 to 18 is what I expect
yeah,
from week 1.
and he
Yeah.
might pull it off with he had 35 last week. He might get another 35-point game the rest of the season. But if you can get 12 to 18 points from DJ Moore for the rest of the season, and you can get Justin Fields finally leveling up and balancing out from, we'll say, 18 to 30 points. I know it's a big gap, but I mean, he rushes, so you can't really go there. But you'll be happy with Justin Fields and DJ Moore rest of season.
I agree completely.
And then I have another note here that start every opposing team's wide receiver 1 against Washington. Their safeties are bad. Their corners are decent, but you saw Emmanuel Forbes get benched because DJ Moore was just lighting them up. So
yeah, he's a rookie. He's a really good rookie. He just had a bad game. But like I told you before the show, like all of DJ Moore's touchdowns were it was yak. He literally caught the ball and then there's no safety over him. You'd think after that first touchdown, you'd want to kind of shield a safety over him, be like, all right, let's just like kind of keep him contained. But nope. He was running wild.
Yep. Sure was. So from here on forward, my personal stance is if I have the matchup against Washington and I have the wide receiver 1 going against Washington, I'm starting it, no hesitation. Yeah. So if they're not going to double or bracket DJ Moore over the top, then they're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
Again.
I agree.
So what else? What else you got on this game?
I got nothing else in this game. We can kind of jump to the news and notes. There's not really too much from this news and notes. Like I said, Roschon Johnson had a concussion, left the game early, and then Khalil Herbert looks like an ankle sprain of some sort. It looked really worse than it did. The fact that he was able to,
his knee.
I thought he was done for the year, but he was able to walk off. He did try to play one more down, and then he grimaced in pain, and that was it. So, but other news and notes around the league: Cooper Kupp is back, 100% healthy. There's videos in practice, and he looks just like his old self.
He looks good.
He looks very good. And other news, Jonathan Taylor is back. He practiced today, and he looked good as well. So that is all the news we have. The only other news to monitor would be Amon-Ra has missed practice again, but that dude's just kind of an Iron Man. He said he's going to play. I kind of believe him. That dude kind of powers through pain, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I would start him hesitantly, though, because especially if it's an oblique or a midsection injury, it could aggravate after one good shot during the game. So just maybe lower expectations a little bit with Amon-Ra.
So you higher expectations with Jameson Williams?
I don't know. I feel like that bumps Josh Reynolds up just a little bit.
Okay.
Because he's going to be, if for whatever reason Amon-Ra goes down, he's going to take his place.
Okay.
That's just how I feel, though. Which, if he does go down too, though, I think that bumps Jahmyr Gibbs up in my mind just a little bit too.
I can see that. I can see it. Yeah, but for some reason he doesn't get the work for whatever reason, though. So
I don't know, man. I don't get it either. But that's neither here nor there. You ready to jump into the rest of the Sunday breakdowns?
I am. Let's do it.
Perfect. Up first, man, we have the Eagles at the Rams with a 50-point over-under, and the Eagles are favored by 4.5 points. Do you want to start with the Eagles?
Yeah, we can start with the Eagles. So Jalen Hurts is fired up. Devonta Smith is fired up. AJ Brown is fired up. DeAndre Swift is fired up. Dallas Goedert is fired up. And that's it. No Kenneth Gainwell. No other guys like Zacchaeus. None of those guys. So those are the kind of like the five guys, and they all can put up points at any moment. I expect Devonta Smith to have the game this week over AJ Brown. AJ Brown's had his two games, but I think that it goes back to Devonta Smith this week.
Yeah. I just looked at the new updated lines. The Eagles are only favored by 3.5 now with the 49.5 point over under. But yes, I agree with everything that you just said. I just think AJ Brown has got to work the last 2 weeks because squeaky wheel gets the grease. Yeah, it's worked out for him, but AJ Brown had a lot of drops last week, and Devonta Smith was pretty sure-handed. So
I mean, before the season started, people did say like Devonta Smith could lead this team in targets, and it wouldn't be like unheard of because I think Devonta Smith is just a more crisper route runner, but the yak for AJ Brown is just ridiculous because he's just a big man running over people.
Yep, I was in that camp. And then on the Rams side of the ball, obviously starting Kyron Williams. You're starting Cooper Kupp. I still think you roll out Puka Nacua no matter what. It bumps with Cooper Kupp back. It bumps Tutu down to a flex play for me in my mind. Go ahead.
I don't know if I'd start Tutu with both Cooper Kupp and Puka back. If you have to, by all means, but I'd wait to see what he looks like in this offense with Cooper Kupp and Puka on the same field, because I think both those guys can see double-digit targets while Tutu only sees like 4 max, and they're just not what you're hoping for, a big play, and I just don't know if that happens.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking of bye weeks. If you have Keenan Allen or Mike Evans or something like that, I do think he could be okay flex, because that's what you're looking forward to at this point in time with Cooper Kupp being back, is the big play. You're looking for that upside. I do think with Cooper Kupp being back, it makes Matthew Stafford more viable than it has. So I would stream Matt Stafford this week. I think he finally, gets a couple touchdown passes in the game and looks good. Tyler Higbee, it's tight end wasteland. I mean, I guess you could do worse.
No, I agree with it because it's over under. You're chasing the points, and it's high over under, and that's where I look for the tight ends in that aspect. So we're hoping for 3 receptions, 28 yards, and a touchdown. You're really happy with him.
I agree. I'm taking the Eagles in this game.
I'm going to take the Eagles as well. I'm very hesitant with that. But let me ask you this question. Would you feel comfortable starting in a team? Because this is a situation I'm actually in. Would you start Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp at the same time?
All 3 of them on the same roster?
All 3 of them on the same roster.
Yeah. You're chasing the points.
Yep.
You are. I mean, the implied point total for them is 21.
My one bench person who I'm benching this week is Chris Olave.
Yeah, if Derek Carr's not playing, I don't think you can play him.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy to say. I can't believe I said that. All right, so we both got the Eagles. Up next, we have the Bengals at the Cardinals with the 44-point over-under, and the Bengals favored by 3. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Let's start with the away team again. The Bengals, you're starting Joe Mixon. Cardinals, they have a good pass rush, but their run-stopping defense isn't the greatest. Obviously, you're going to start Jamar Chase. I don't think T. Higgins plays, so that puts Tyler Boyd into flex consideration for me. And Joe Burrow, if you drafted him, you're still starting him, and you're hoping this is the week that he bounces back healthy and figures it out.
I agree. So let me ask you, let's say T. Higgins is out, and which I think he will be. I think he sits out this week. He hasn't practiced. Would you start their slot receiver, Irwin, the little short white guy?
I know exactly. Number 16, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Would you start him?
DFS, yes. Any other format, no.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I saw he was projected 9 points, so I was like, all right, that's kind of curious.
So, Cardinal side of the ball, who you got?
Okay, so James Conner is the obvious start. I think he's pretty reliable going forward. Hollywood Brown, you're starting him, and then Zach Ertz, I feel pretty comfortable. I don't know if I'm starting Michael Wilson yet. I want to see it again. I want to see it again. I don't know if I can chase it unless you're on some buys and you're chasing that high upside again. I get it, but I want to see it again because he had a really, really good game. 7 receptions, 2 touchdowns. It's a lot. I want to see it again before I start putting him out there as a flex option or a wide receiver 2 or 3. But I'm really hesitant. And then Josh Dobbs. Are you just start him?
I do have him in the lineup.
Oh my. I don't know if I could do it, but Josh Dobbs, I mean, if like Herbert is on your bye and you had to pick between him and a couple of players, I wouldn't mind it, but he's not someone I'm actively looking to start.
Yeah, I agree. I do think Sam Howell this week would have been a better streaming option than him. I think we talked about that on the show. All right, man. Who do you have winning this game?
Weirdly, I'm saying the Bengals, and I'm hesitant with it.
I am too, but I do think this might be the week they get it back on track.
Yeah,
it'll be a close game. It'll be a close game.
I will not be surprised we come back on Monday and saying, well, we were idiots for picking the Bengals, and the Cardinals just look good right now. So
I agree. All right, up next, man, we have the Jets at the Denver Broncos. This line is 43.5, and the Broncos are favored by 2.5. When it opened, they were favored by 1.5.
Okay. I'll start with the Jets side. This is Brees Hall's game. I think this is the game we've all been looking for Brees Hall. I think he's not in restrictions anymore. There's no more limited snaps. No, I really hope they don't put Dalvin Cook in anymore because it's not working. It's not a thing. Brees Hall's exceptionally better. I expect him to have the game of the week. He's my pick of the week. I expect him to go off. Garrett Wilson looks a little bit better with Zach Wilson clicking last week. You're starting Garrett Wilson. You're hoping for a wide receiver 2 upside numbers. You can start Tyler Conklin in a pinch. I'm not really. I mean, it's tight end wasteland. You're chasing it. You're seeing it last week. If it clicked again, you're chasing for the chemistry. It might be there. It might not. Who knows? I'm not hating if you start him. There might be other options, but it's tight end wasteland.
Agreed. Broncos side of the ball. Russ has not looked bad, so you can start Russ. This is news you have to monitor. Javonte Williams, he's still listed as questionable, as we know.
He practiced fully today.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't practice yesterday, practiced fully today. If it is a quad, it could aggravate again. If it is a hip flexor, I think that's just more of a play-through pain type injury. Just pay attention to that because I would start McLaughlin.
Jaleel McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, thank you. Mm-hmm. Before I started Samaje, because that just explosiveness, big play potential, right? That's what I would do. Sean Payton likes the big play, whoever can get it done. And then Curtis Samuel has been a touchdown machine and a target leader.
Sutton.
That's why did I say Samuel?
You said Curtis Samuel.
Oh, Cortland Sutton. Thank you. Has been a touchdown and target monster in that offense for some reason, which everyone thought he was dead coming into this year because last year's debacle. And then I think Jerry Jeudy's a worthy wide receiver 3 flex play. Yeah, I don't think you're playing Marvin Mims, though. You've seen it last week where it just didn't work out.
You're not playing the other rookie, Thomas, I believe his last name is, the other guy who's been catching touchdowns.
No, Brandon Johnson.
Sorry, Johnson. My apologies.
Look, I totally redeemed myself after messing up Cortland Sutton. No, I'm probably not.
Are you considering adding him at all?
Dynasty formats and 14 plus teamers, yes. If he's not already added or drafted.
I benched Jerry Jeudy for Cortland Sutton, which is really weird to say in one of my other leagues.
I know it feels weird, but I think that is the right play.
Yep.
Honestly, I do. Who do you have winning this game?
I have the Jets.
I also am going to take the Jets in this one. I just think the Broncos defense with Vance Joseph is so bad.
Yeah. And I trust the Jets defense. They look good. They made Patrick Mahomes have one of his worst games yet, besides that Bengals AFC Championship game where he just looked awful. But
and I think that they the sheer fact that they're trying to get Zach Wilson's confidence back, they're not going to give up.
And Zach Wilson's matured. I'm not saying I'm rooting for. I'm not rooting against him, but I'm hoping he improves and shows up for all the Garrett Wilson owners out there too.
I think the three of us on the show are all a Garrett Wilson owner in separate leagues, so we're all in the same boat. All right, man. So both of us have the Jets. Up next is probably going to be what everyone perceives to be the best game of the week. Oh, excuse me. That's the next game. So we'll go up next. We have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Minnesota Vikings. This line is now 52.5, and the Chiefs are favored by 3.5. They opened at 4.5.
That's kind of weird. They've been betting down. I'll start with the Chiefs side. So Mahomes, Kelsey's the obvious two. There's no questions about it.
Really?
Think about it. No, I mean sometimes you're hesitant towards last week. Mahomes looked bad.
I think that's a one-off, brother.
I'm just kidding. There's no hesitance there. Now there's question marks with Rashee Rice and Sky Moore, and I guess Tony. But are you starting Rashee Rice?
No, I'm starting 0 Kansas City receivers.
I am starting Sky Moore in a flex spot with it's a 3 wide receiver league in a flex because I'm chasing the over under 52 points. The
That's
Vikings
fair.
have a very, very terrible defense, a very, very bad secondary, I should say. Decent D line, terrible secondary.
That's fair, but I still see this as it gets too distributed amongst the receivers from 20 to 20, and then when they get in the red zone, it's just going to be Travis Kelce or Isaiah Pacheco just pounding it in.
Yeah. Also, I starting Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco was a very much start,
Yes.
and he was one of those you kind of considered like, oh, is my flex, and now he's your RB2, and you're not even thinking twice about it.
Correct.
So, what about the Vikings side of the ball?
Oh, man, you got to keep Jay Jettis in the lineup. Kirk Cousins looked bad last week, but I mean, the 3 weeks before that, he looked good. So I expect them to be playing from behind this game. So I'm starting Kirk Cousins. TJ Hawkinson, those are your for sure starts. I think you can still roll out Jordan Addison, even though he goosed you last week, but I think that was more of a Kirk Cousins issue and the Vikings actually being in a position to win the game, which then leads me to Alexander Mattison, who, yes, you're still playing him. You're still hoping they get down on the 2-yard line and they just let him pound the rock in. That, outside of Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift, Saquon when he gets back, Eckler when he gets back, Bijan, you're basically hoping your running back can get you 70 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think this game will see more of Cam Akers. I think
Boy, I hope so, because I got some stocks of him.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Chiefs have a really good front seven, with obviously Chris Jones being there. I just think this is going to be a struggle bus game for Alexander Mattison, and we'll see more of Cam Akers because Cam Akers is a good receiving back as well. So I think this could be a coming out party for him.
I hope so. I hope he takes over that backfield.
I do too.
Alexander Mattison, outside of last week, has not looked good for anybody.
No.
Who do you got winning?
Missile.
Yeah, who do you got winning?
I got the Chiefs.
I do as well. So, as I was saying, this is what I perceive everyone to be the most anticipated game of the week, which, knowing our luck, it's probably going to be a defensive battle, which kind of sucks for fantasy owners, but it is the Cowboys at the Niners. This game is a 45-point over-under, and the Niners favored by 3.5 points. This line opened at those exact same numbers and has not moved.
Yeah, it's stayed the same. I'll start with the Cowboys side. Dak, I mean, if you drafted him where he's at, unless you somehow picked up another good option, you're rolling him out there. CD, Tony Pollard, and you're starting Jake Ferguson. He's involved in this offense. I'm still leery. I'm not starting Brandon Cooks.
Nope. You want to know my deep shot on this one, though?
What, Michael Gallup?
Yep.
Fair
He's
enough.
if you are down going into Sunday night and you can flex him into your lineup, he is my play.
Okay. I mean, more balls to you, because I don't think I could do it. I think I'm just starting the main guys. It's so weird because I feel like Brandon Cook should be way more involved, but I just think their game script has been so off. Where either their defenses have kicked the crap out of the team, or they've been chasing and they've been having to rely on CD. So they have yet. This is the game where I guess you could say either this is like a close game and everyone's starting to get involved, or it's a blowout from San Francisco.
Yep.
So
I agree with that. And then San Francisco side of the ball, obviously, CMC, there's no question. He went in between the 101 and the 103 this year. You're not taking him out of your lineup. Somehow, miraculously, he's probably still going to have a 25-point game against a solid defense. It's crazy. You are where you drafted Debo, you have to start Debo, but we are also starting our main man of this show, Brandon Ayuk. He is in your lineup, and once again, where you drafted George Kittle, you have to play George Kittle. You have to once again hope that Debo disappears if you're not the Debo owner, and the extra targets go to George Kittle.
I think George Kittle is going to be more involved. I think if Dallas can kind of not saying stop CMC, but limit him, because George Kittle's a 6 offensive lineman. That's what he is, honestly, and he gets those catches. But if they can limit him, then they'll move Kittle out, and he'll start to get a little more active. So that's what you're really hoping for.
I agree with that. And then, of course, it is against my religion to take the Cowboys, so I am taking the Niners in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking San Francisco. Let me ask you, are you starting Brock Purdy?
I mean, streaming option with how good he's been, you kind of have to. I don't really think anyone, especially in redraft, drafted him to be their starter.
Okay.
But once again, if you have let me look at this, the teams I'll buy. If you have the Deshaun Watson, realistically, Justin Herbert, because I think Geno and Baker might have gone undrafted in most leagues. But if you have one of those two guys, Brock Purdy's not a bad play.
Okay.
He's efficient. That's the thing. Let
me ask you, is it a hot take to say Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback?
Probably not, because once again, he's efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want. Is you want efficiency and consistency at the quarterback position,
right.
And he has it. He's a pocket passer who's efficient and has explosive weapons that can, as we saw DJ Moore do tonight, get yards after the catch, and that's what you want.
Yep.
So, but we both have the Niners winning. That wraps it up for the rest of the Sunday slate. Tune in for Monday, where we talk about the we'll call it winners and losers of fantasy football today. It'll be a different name on Monday, I promise. And then we'll talk about Raiders Packers game preview for the Monday Night Football game on ESPN or ABC. But as always, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you want the audio versions, Apple Podcast and Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. But until next time, we'll see you later.